A lot of the action, of course, is unfolding on the floor, as they say, of the plenary hall itself. And SABC News is watching the story from a number of vantage points. Our senior politics reporter in Samkele, Maseko, is also here, has been keeping tabs on the situation for quite some time since early this morning. Samkele, paint the picture for us. We've been taking in some of the visuals there. The plenary hall finally starting to fill up.
Indeed, Ayanda, as you can see with the visuals that our cameras are showing you, delegates are now chanting slogans inside the plenary hall. It is about 70% full at this point in time, with all of the delegates of the Red Sea, the Economic Freedom Fighters, the July 26 movement in their third National People's Assembly. I'm going to bring in Mr. Lolwana Motojan, who comes from Free State, Fezile region. As Fezile, your main critical points, the Red Sea is here. Delegates are filling up. Your main points as Fezile Tabi?
Thank you very much, Samkele, and good morning to the viewers. As Fezile Dabi, we are very delighted to be here, mandated by branches of the organization to come and represent them in the third NPA of the EFF. Our main issue here as Fezile Dabi is that we'll be coming here to discuss the issue of organizational renewal, which amongst others indicates that we must abolish regions. And we would fully support that we have effective sub-regional committees, because we have seen just how much it is better to have sub-regions, because fighters will be able to communicate with branches directly. So that is why we are coming here as Fezile Dabi to say we fully support the conference and we are happy to be here, and that we are going to push the mandate of the organization after the conference has decided on the mandate from now for the next 5 years.
The organizational renewal, there's also a proposal to disband the student command, turn it into a youth structure, an EFF youth league. Are you in support of that particular motion?
We truly support that, because it is important to mobilize young people as EFF. As we know that we have done so before with mobilizing the student command and turned them into voters of South Africa, because majority of them, they had not registered to vote. So we fully support the move that we should have a youth command that will be able to mobilize all young people behind the EFF, so that when we move to elections, we are sure that we have young people as futures of this country.
Who do you support as deputy president of the EFF?
The conference will then decide. It will be discussed in a conference that way.
Thank you very much. That is the delegate. I'm just going to ask my colleague Thulo Munare just to take his camera off the tripod as we move towards the Nkululeko Dunga, who is the EFF's provincial chairperson in Gauteng, just to also show you visuals of delegates singing as they are arriving at the plenary here. There are a number of them. They are chanting slogans. And we do anticipate that the leader of the EFF, Julius Malema, will arrive at any point in time here at this particular conference venue. I'm just going to ask my colleague just to turn around and show you those particular delegates who are chanting there over that side. There are delegates coming from a number of provinces. We are now going to speak to Nkululeko Dunga, who comes from the province of Gauteng. Mr. Dunga, delegates are arriving. Conference mood is fully on. What are you anticipating as the leadership of Gauteng at this third People's National Assembly?
Yeah, delegates have arrived in their abundance. Obviously, we had a late night, but we are here with the rejuvenated spirits. We are here to defend, rebuild, and advance this movement.
When it comes to constitutional amendments, organizational redesign, what are some of the points that you will be pushing as Gauteng?
Well, one of them is the discussion of the ultimately removal of regional structures constitutionally, and maybe looking and being admissible rather to the fact that they should just be coordinating structures and really go down and have a more intimate relationship with branches as leaders of the EFF, whether at a provincial or national level, by the introduction of sub-regional structures that can give us a more intimate relationship with our structures.
Why would you support such a motion, knowing very well that you are former regional chairperson of Ekurhuleni? What is the thrust around there?
It's on the same basis that we've led the regions before, and we have a greater understanding what needs to be done. You know, we went into the elections on the 24th, in 2024 now, having established sub-regional structures that gave us a more direct conversation, not only with branches, but also with VDs and even streets. And that's really what we need as an organization as we seek to rebuild and advance, more particularly now that we acknowledge the fact that we lost votes, because genuinely we did lose those votes. And then how then do we rework it and work our way around it? We cannot apply the very same principles and organizational positions that we had previously when we are under siege, and we really need to reflect and find a way of dealing with matters going forward.
You being under siege, there is a rally tomorrow in KwaZulu-Natal where you are politically obliterated. How do you regain lost ground in a vast province like KwaZulu-Natal?
Well, this is one of those things, as a vast province in itself, to have a more intimate relationship with communities in KZN would be the implementation of sub-regional structures. So that's what we're trying to do. We're not very much worried about the other political party, which is obviously identified itself as a political opponent of the EFF. In due time, we'll meet them head on.
Governance issues. There's no city manager currently in Johannesburg. The PMC, Political Management Committee, said you must appeal the Floyd Brink judgment. What is the EFF standpoint as the provincial chairperson of the EFF on the matter of the city manager in Johannesburg?
No, well, look, there are genuinely merits that we can use to advance the appeal in itself. And it was an application that was brought before the court by the Democratic Alliance, and we know what the view that they've always had against the city manager in the city of Johannesburg. And on the core basis of their argument, rather, is that they always wanted someone who is extremely politically aligned to them to implement whatever decision they would have given them in the shadows. And Floyd Brink did not give them that in any way. So we will obviously appeal it, and we have noted the report and are engaging on it thoroughly.
The ANC says you shouldn't appeal.
Well, that's the position of the ANC. The ANC has a tendency of always diddle-daddling with issues. The PMC, which the ANC is a part of, came to a different conclusion to what the ANC now seemingly is coming up with. But thank you for giving us the minutes of the ANC. Talks in itself, because we are not privileged to have that information at this point.
I hear you are the incoming TG.
I have no interest. I'm the provincial chairperson of the EFF. We're not driven by positions. We're driven by the agenda of economic freedom in our lifetime.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tunga. But just look at these visuals. These delegates are coming in. They are chanting slogans. It is indeed a fever of a Congress. Let's just take it in.
Organization and rebuild it and advance on it.
That's all. Grand forces of Julius Malema behind you all the way. Our CIC, Amanda leadership.
That is the Congress fever of the EFF, the Third National People's Assembly. The leadership of the EFF has arrived. They are on the podium. You can see the members of the CCT. You can see Sinawo Tambo on the podium. You can see a number of them who are on the podium. I can see Godrich Gadi. I can see Vuyani Pambo, who is a CCT member of the Economic Freedom Fighters. The other provincial leaders, the provincial chairpersons, provincial secretaries, they are leading their particular provincial delegations. The leader of the EFF, Julius Malema, will arrive here shortly to address these over 2,500 voting delegates of the Economic Freedom Fighters. Top of their agenda, rebuild, advance, and also looking at reorganizational design of the Economic Freedom Fighters, removing regions, putting sub-regional structures in order to communicate with the constituency on the ground to rebuild and to regain that particular lost ground, Ayanda.
Getting a sense from the visuals that we're feeding you that there's going to be a beginning of that program at any moment now. It's going to kick off with the singing of the national anthem, then an interfaith prayer session, we're told, is going to take place. Thereafter, there's going to be a welcoming address from Gauteng, who, of course, you might have spotted there speaking to our Samkele Maseko just a short while ago.